If you want a vegetable that eats like a cheeseburger, you've got to try this cheesy onion casserole. Welcome back to the kitchen, guys. Today we are cooking up a cheesy onion casserole. Some people call this Tennessee onions. You might have heard of it before, especially if you're from Tennessee or down south. If not, just know this is one of the most delicious onion preparations you can do. And if you thought onions couldn't be a dish unto themselves, you are wrong. This is kind of like eating a cheeseburger smothered in caramelized onions, but without the burger part. And it is super delicious. We are gonna start, of course, with our onions. We have Vidalia onions today. These are similar to like a yellow onion or a Spanish onion. They're a little bit flatter in profile and they are a lot sweeter in taste, and that's what we want. We're gonna get some really cooked down, caramelized, sweet Vidalia onions, super delicious, smothered in cheese, a little bit of spices. It's gonna be so good. Let's get to breaking down our onions. Super easy onion breakdown today. We are gonna do what's called petaling our onions. Now, usually for these Tennessee onions, people cut them into rounds. I happen to disagree about that. I don't think they cook up as nicely. I think these petals not only look beautiful, they sit really nicely in the pan, and they get all of that beautiful butter and cheese. They act like little spoons, spooning up that butter and that cheese. It's really delicious. It's a superior way to do the onion for this dish, and I'm gonna show you how to do it right now. Really easy thing to do. You wanna just take the root off. Like that. Take the stem end off. And then we are going to quarter our onions. So cut in half. One nice thing is that when you do it this way, it gives you a flat side to work with, as opposed to when you're trying to cut rounds. Rounds are like the most dangerous onion cut because it's always rocking on you as you're trying to cut them. This way we have a flat side down. We cut them into quarters, just like this. And then they're really easy to peel. Just pull the peels off. I like to take off the outermost layer on this too, because that can be a little thin and papery, and we want nice juicy onions for this. Now you may see this onion has a sprout in it. That little green part, that can actually be kind of bitter, so I like to remove it. I don't really like to eat that part. Again, here we see the sprout. You can just pull it out, discard it. Now that we have it quartered, we're just going to pull the petals apart. It's real simple. And you will get nice little petals, just like that. And these sit beautifully in the pan. They kind of layer really nicely. They cook really evenly. And like I said, they really latch on to the juices and the cheese. Our onions are petaled out and we are ready to season them up. It really couldn't get any easier. I got a little bit of avocado oil. I'm just going to toss these around, make sure I get the oil all over the outside. This will help them cook and it will help our seasoning to stick. One thing about petaled onions is they have a tendency to want to nest inside each other. So if you get them sticking together, just make sure you pull them apart and get that oil all over. Now our seasoning. I've got some smoked paprika, some garlic powder, black pepper, and the recipe I say you can use cayenne, but I'm actually using Kashmiri chili pepper here. I use Kashmiri chili pepper anywhere you would use cayenne. It has about the same heat level, but a lot more flavor. It can be a little hard to find. I'll put a link down below if you want to get some for yourself, but cayenne works just fine. Some salt and dried thyme. Some people use oregano in this recipe. I like thyme. Make sure I get all those seasonings out. For the cheese mixture my cheese mixture has some Swiss in there, and you can use different ones, but I like a little bit of Swiss in my cheese mixture, and I find the thyme goes really well with it. We've got some brown sugar. Brown sugar is going to help everything caramelize nicely, and just a little bit to aid in bringing out the extreme sweetness of those Vidalia onions, which is really what we want. Let's give it a toss. We're gonna get our hands a little dirty here. That's fine. Just make sure they're clean to start. And like I said, if those onions want to nest inside of one another, just pull them apart and make sure you get seasoning all over them. Let's get our casserole assembled. Like I said before, guys, this recipe couldn't be easier. We're gonna layer in half of our prepared onions, and I did spray my casserole with a little non-stick spray just to be sure we don't get any stickage. You know, if these nest inside each other a little bit, it's not a big deal. Just make sure there's no like stacks of cards, so to speak. Even layer on the bottom. We're gonna go with half of our cheese. So half the cheddar. Half the Swiss. Another layer of onions. Gonna be this beautiful, layered, cheesy, sweet, a little bit of spice from the garlic and smoked paprika. It couldn't be easier, this recipe, but man, does it pack a lot of flavor. And it's one of those things, you know, you don't have to be a professional chef to do it. Pop it in the oven, comes right out. And it's a vegetable. I mean, this is about as tasty as a vegetable gets, guys. I'm telling you. Like I said, I think it tastes like a cheeseburger smothered in caramelized onions. That's really how it comes off to me. So we got the rest of our cheese, cheddar, and our Swiss. Don't want to go crazy with our cheese because once it melts, it's going to coat everything and you don't want things to get like greasy. Just the proper amount to give you gooey, not greasy. And we are going to finish it with that beautiful Parmesan Panko mixture. Just evenly all the way over the top. Like I said, that Panko is going to toast up. It's going to absorb the juices from the onions while they cook. And those Vidalia onions are so sweet. It's like a cheesy, sweet sauce all over this dish. I think that's a really fun addition to the traditional recipe. And if you're skeptical, because you've made this kind of dish before and it didn't have breadcrumbs, say give it a try one time, see what you think. I think you'll be impressed by what the chef brought to the dish. I've got some butter, unsalted butter. I've just cubed it up into little pieces that we will just pop around all over the top. Like I said, it's not a ton of butter. We don't want a greasy dish, but it's just enough to bring some flavor and some nice like creaminess to that sauce. Our oven is at 350 degrees. I'm going to cover this with aluminum foil. Just for the first part of the cook, to keep everything from getting too scorched, we will uncover it for the last 15 minutes to let everything brown on top. But like I said, 350, we're going to go into the oven for 45 minutes, let these onions break down, get soft, juicy, and super sweet. Then we'll caramelize the top, and we'll be ready to eat. Our casserole is done. It looks and smells delicious. That cheesy roasted onion smell is so nice, permeating my kitchen. I can't wait to get into it. I'm just gonna dish it right up. We'll get into it hot. All right, this is looking beautiful. Let's get in here. A little hot, that's all right. I'll burn my mouth a little for science. Here we go. Guys, that is so good. You would never think a dish that is just primarily onions could be that sweet, tender, spicy. There's so much creaminess from the cheese. Mm-hmm. Mmm. Beautiful. It really does taste like you're biting into like a juicy, meaty, caramelized, oniony cheeseburger, but you're not you're getting a vegetable out of it. It's crazy. It's crazy that a vegetable side could be this good, and it's healthy for you. It's a great way to get your veggies in. There it is, guys. So delicious. I love this dish. I think you guys are gonna love this dish. If you want to get someone in your family that's not veg heavy to eat some vegetables, it's a great way to do it. If you do the portion fix system, the containers for this are 1 green, 1 blue, and 1.5 teaspoons, which is pretty darn good for something that tasty. Thank you guys for tuning in once again. I really appreciate it. I hope you enjoy the recipe. I hope you leave me some comments. If you do, send me a photo on social media so I can see what you're cooking up. And we'll see you in the next episode of Bobby's Kitchen.